We hit 60K! We hit 60K. If you don't want to do those two things, you don't want to be a content creator. I'm sorry. I'm here to break the harsh news to you. In fact, just take the sugar off the coating, okay? More money? You need some more. On top of the down payment, you need some more money. I personally do not regret my decision at all. I do not move out of fear. I move out of faith 100% of the time, okay? Man, who you dating? 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 If somebody's not being a good friend to you back, baby, get up out of there. Get up out of there. Hey y'all, welcome back to another video. It's not a vlog this time. I'm so sorry. I know y'all love the vlogs. So do I. I love making them and I love editing them. But we got so many more people here. It's time to do another get to know me / chit chat. We just about to bump our gums for I don't know how long. Probably an hour. Let's see. But anyways, per usual, I hope you're doing well and I hope you enjoyed the last vlog. We're about to get into so much stuff because I got so many questions on my Instagram story. The other day I posted a little question box. I was like, ask me anything. I'm about to sit down and do another chit chat. It can be anything. Now, some of y'all took it too far. Some of y'all took it a little too far. Now, some of them questions, some of y'all was being a little messy, and others I just simply want to answer, okay? But within my boundaries, we will sit here and we will yap and talk about all the things. And I also want to say thank you for 60,000. We hit 60K! We hit 60K, and I'm so over the moon and just joyful and elated about it. I love YouTube. YouTube has been doing so well for me since I started like 2 years ago. Oh my gosh, I love my community on here so much. It's like such a safe space because you've curated it and you've built it from the ground up. And anybody who watches, most of anybody who watches is here for genuine support. Now I get a little testy in them comments sometimes, but I love YouTube and I love the genuine love and support that we all just share here. So thank you for being here, and let's yap. Okay, like I said, I got a lot of questions, so I need to break this down into categories, right? So let's talk about home ownership, content creation, relationship, friendships, my relationship with God. What was the other big one? So many of y'all asked about this man. What's another big one? I feel like those, what did I just list? 5 just topics, and then I guess self-improvement. People were asking me a lot of just tips in general, and then at one point I'm just gonna rapid fire randomly read the questions because they're all over the place and I have to categorize them in my head and mark off the ones I answered. So, and y'all know I can also just talk. That's one thing I'm apparently good at. I didn't used to be good at this. I used to be extremely shy growing up, so it's astounding now that I could just talk. So I guess that's how we'll break it up. So I was watching one of my other chit chat sessions back and I realized I didn't even introduce myself in the beginning because, like I said, we have a lot of new subscribers on here and then a lot of new supporters just on TikTok and Instagram. Anyways, I'm Alexis. Hi, I'm 25 if you didn't know. I am from Detroit, and then wait, girl, what? Slow down, Savannah. Slow down. I'm from Detroit. I moved here because I went to grad school at UPenn, and then I started working professionally. So that professional career, I am a scientist. Previously, I was a biopharmaceutical microbiologist. People always ask me about my career. I will forever and always be a scientist because I did the work and have the credentials to say that I am a scientist. Now, right now, I'm not working as a scientist, but I will forever be wired in that way, and I will forever have the credentials to be that. Like I said, I am working as a full-time creator right now. We can literally talk about my transition from science to content creation full-time because I know a lot of people love to hear about that. So initially I moved to Pennsylvania for grad school. And then, like I said, I started working in my full-time career. I will not disclose the place that I work, whether I work there or not. That's crossing a boundary for me. But like I said, a full-time biopharmaceutical microbiologist. In my college years, I studied biology, but I also studied religious studies. That was just a niche thing for me. I loved it, especially Western religion. So I just picked up a double major. I did a ton of research and even an undergrad thesis in undergrad. And I think that definitely padded me for the corporate world. So immediately after I graduated, I worked as a cosmetic microbiologist at a cosmetic company. It was a beauty incubator, if you know anything about that. Similar to Mesa, if you know anything about Mesa. It wasn't Mesa, but similar to Mesa because they're pretty big. But anyways, I got to do a lot that I did in undergrad in that professional career. So like I said, everything that I did in undergrad padded me for that career. I had all the credentials, I had all the experience that I needed, so they immediately just put me into a role, and I did that for about 3 to 4 months, just the summer after I graduated, after I left undergrad. And that experience just catapulted me into biopharma because it was just different products. So it wasn't like makeup and shampoo and like cosmetics of any sort. It was instead large monoclonal antibodies. And then drug substance also. So the scope of what I was doing was almost the same, but different. I had the experience, so I got the role. Now I was working full time in grad school while as a like microbiologist also. So my schedule was crazy. And then eventually I picked up content creation. This is like probably 1.5 to 2 years into my corporate career. I can fact check myself, but I don't feel like it, okay? This is probably like 1.5 to 2 years into my corporate career where I started on TikTok. I started making these like little outfit videos in my mirror. You're a real one if you remember these because it's been a little minute. It's about 2.5 years now. So I started getting dressed in my mirror and just put on my outfits, voiceless, y'all, not saying nothing, just putting on my outfit to a little tune in the background. So it started to gain a little traction. I'm like, okay, my outfits are kind of cute. I mean, my outfits have always been cute. When I was little, I used to literally get dressed 5 different times just to go to the store with my mom or something, like something very simple. Because where did I have to go? Literally nowhere. I would be like, Mom, can I come to work with you? Like, yeah. I would put on an outfit, change it 3 times just to go to work with her. Like, I've always been this at heart, at my core. I know who I am from a young age, okay? But anyways, I started with outfit videos in my mirror and it started to gain traction, right? And then once it started to gain traction, I said, okay, I think I hit like 10K and I was like, okay, like, be for real. Like, you gotta talk if you want any sort of longevity out of this career. And that is another piece of advice, or I guess my first piece of advice. If you want to get into content creation, you need to show who you are authentically. Genuinely and authentically, you need to show who you are. So you're gonna have to show your face and you're gonna have to start talking. And if you don't want to do those 2 things, you don't want to be a content creator. I'm sorry. I'm here to break the harsh news to you. In fact, just take the sugar off the coating, okay? You literally have to talk. If you're scared to talk, we ain't got nothing for you. We ain't got nothing for you. So like I said, hit 10K and eventually started to talk a little bit more. I would always go live and I would always recommend going live. Like if you go live, it gives you a chance to talk to your audience just right there in real time. Take the edge off, do your nails, do your hair, do something to occupy you while you're live so it doesn't feel like you're just hyper focused on however many people is in the live or whatever. So that's what I would do. I would do my nails on live and just catch up with people. And I really genuinely started to build connections just going live, y'all. Half of y'all I know from that era. Like I know your guys' names and I know your guys' face from that era. And y'all have stuck with me. I'm gonna stick beside it. That's what y'all said. Y'all have literally stuck with me this entire time, and that's what I'm saying. Genuine community building will forever be the utmost important thing that you can do in this career. And that is another piece of advice. If you want to get into content creation, you have to genuinely build community because community is going to take you from glory to glory, level to level. I promise you, they're going to catapult you. And then community is also the key to any sort of longevity in content creation in general, because if you want to be a creator and you're successful at it, I think your mind should be wired in a way of like what's next. So my what's next is like a business venture, but I know I have the community to back me. So from day one, focusing on building that community will take you from this realm of life into anything else you want to do. Say you want to launch a business or act on a TV show, whatever the case may be, your community, genuine community will support you in every endeavor. So it's going to be important for you to build that. I low-key feel like I'm already going off on a tangent and talking too much. So let me reel it back in. Where was I with my, okay, yeah. Outfit videos, but started to talk and then was going live very frequently, like at least every weekend, like multiple times during the weekend, right? And then I started to just make get to know me videos, talking directly to my camera, and then eventually it started like silk press tutorials, hair tutorials, whatever, and then vlogs. Once I started vlogging, I said, this is it. Like this is what I like. This is what I like to do online. It just so naturally flowed, and then my vlogs really just started to pick up and take off. So then people were like, oh, you should make a YouTube. Like I'd love to watch you on YouTube. And I'm like, me? So I'm like, okay, if somebody's telling me to do something that they would love to watch me on this specific platform, I'm literally gonna do it. So one day I went out and bought me a camera. This was an investment at this time because, mind you, how much money was I making on social media? I'm sorry. Why did I even ask myself that? None. I was making $0.00 from social media. Now, I wasn't a TikTok creator fund, but they were probably paying me like dollars, like single dollars, like $4.23 maybe. And we could talk about finances also a little bit more because I feel like Now, I still have a boundary up with finances, and I'll never fully divulge any of that information. But I feel like now we are shifting in a way of where it's becoming a little bit more relevant, and people are underestimating the sheer money you can make from being on social media and how it could literally change people's lives. So I think it's important to touch on a little bit, especially as a Black woman with other Black women watching me and inspired by me. Hold on, I'll talk about that later. Shut up. Anyways, I was making no money on any of my social platforms, so this was quite literally an investment for me, right? So I went out and bought a camera. Now, you don't have to do this. You could use whatever resources you have. If you have a phone, that's literally enough to start a YouTube. You don't have to go and buy a camera, but that's what I did because I wanted to upload quality content from day one. So bought my camera, released my first vlog. It did great. It did great. You guys didn't lie. Whoever said that they would watch me on YouTube didn't lie, and they came to watch me on YouTube. And I kid you not, every week since that week, I have uploaded a vlog. Except, you're going to be like, no, you didn't. You didn't upload last week. Calm down, Savannah. Slow down. Except if I'm sick, traveling with family, and I just feel like I need to turn off the camera or have had like me time moments. Like back in December, I went through a phase where I just really needed to shut down the cameras and just log off for a little bit. So other than that, I have posted every single week, and y'all can vouch for me. One thing about A-Wilkie, consistency is my middle name. It's Alexis Consistency Wilkerson, okay? Put that, I need to put that in my bio or something. Like, I am consistent, I am dedicated to the craft because I want to yield results out of it. If you put good in, you will get good out. Like, if you want to see results, you're going to have to put in the work. Now, the largest part of what I do is just fueled by God. God has blessed me tremendously. I have so much favor resting upon my life. I can feel it. I can see it. I can, like, it's everywhere around me. It's just surrounding me. I'm shielded by favor and grace and mercy, of course. But God has worked miracles in my life and just has been moving on a scale that I can't even comprehend most days. It's insane. It's not insane. It's beautiful, but I'm in awe of the glory and the grace and just the favor that's just resting upon my life. So everything that I'm doing, community, my will, my drive, my consistency, it comes from God. But faith without works is dead. So you need to put in the work behind the faith, and then and only then will you yield the results that you are looking for. All right, so now that I've told you about my career and just journey in becoming a content creator, so many people ask me if I regret my decision, if I go back, and how have you adjusted? Now, life looks very different for me now than it did when I was working in that job because I have more freedom. I don't want to say I have more time because I am filling my time with this because I am truly dedicated to this and working on this. So this literally is my work. I hate when people say that this is not a job. It quite literally is a job. It just looks different. The work is different. I can say that I'm having more fun, absolutely, but the work is different. Do I regret my decision? Absolutely not. And I don't even know what some of the questions are. A lot of people ask it, or I'm trying to figure out where some of the questions are like coming from and why it's being prompted or what's prompting them. A lot of people are asking me, would I go back and do it, like regret my decision? I personally do not regret my decision at all. I do not move out of fear. I move out of faith 100% of the time, okay? And when you are doing that and when you are being obedient to God and His will for your life, there is nothing to look back on. There is nothing to regret. So I would never regret a decision that God moved me to make, quite literally. I remember when I first quit, and everything I was putting into leaving, like all of it was a divine work of God. So at no point have I ever been like, I want to go back or I regret this, because the fullness of the blessing is manifesting and showing in my life. So I don't have time to regret. I don't have time to look back and be like, should I go back into that field? Should I do this? Should I have done this? No, God has shown Himself and has rewarded me, oh my gosh, fully for being obedient to what it is that He told me to do. Since I left my job, my life has changed tremendously. Tremendously. My life doesn't even mirror what it used to look like now. At the core, I'm still the same person. I still have the same heart, and I love that. But like, my everyday life looks so different, and that is God showing up in my life. So no, I don't regret it. No, I would not go back to that specific field. Now, if I have to at any point, and I don't even want to say that, because I don't ever want to give little faith to God. I don't ever want to be in a position where I'm like, well, if I need it, I can go back. And that's true, I can. But I don't ever want to show little faith. My faith meter is off the charts. So no, I don't regret it. No, right now I'm not even thinking about going back or looking back. But what I am thinking about is how to use my scientific knowledge in what it is that I want to do in this specific career. And I've already thought through that, and I already have a plan of action for that. And I think that's just glorifying God further, because he gave me a gift and a talent as a scientist because I'm good at it and I love it. And that truly is a portion of my heart. So to be able to use that portion in something else and love something else at the same time and have them kind of intersect and intertwine into the same career, now that's God. And that's like, you kind of ate that, because it's like I get to do both things that I love long term. So I'm very happy with my decision. No, I don't regret it. Yeah. But also, with that being said, please don't go quit your job with no plan of action. Like, please, you gotta have something has to make sense. Also, I didn't just one day quit my job. I was saving to quit my job. Like, I had over a year of expenses saved already. So I did step out on faith, but it wasn't dumb. Like, it wasn't a dumb decision. Like, I had everything in place. I had been strategically planning to do that for months. So one day I wasn't just like, you know what, F them people, I'm never going back. It was more of a gradual thing. So like I said, be smart, especially financially. You need to be smart, because you have to do what you have to do until you can do what you want to do. In that have to phase of life, you just don't have to buckle down and do it. You have to do what you have to do to be able to get to do what you want to do. And I did that, so now I get to do what I want to do and pull other aspects of my life into what it is that I want to do. And when that aligns with, when my want aligns with God's will for my life, that's how I know I'm walking in divine purpose, because I see the evidence of it all around me. But when those two things intertwine, I feel like I've unlocked a new level of life, when God's will for me aligns with what I want for my life. And I think it's easy to tell when it doesn't align, because things will be disturbed. Peace won't exist. Life will not be as smooth and as easy as it actually should be. None of this should really be hard, in my opinion, if you're walking in the will that God has for your life. Now, are there obstacles? Yes. Are there variables? Yes. But when you truly start to walk in what God has for you, life becomes easier. You start to elevate from glory to glory, from faith to faith, from this level to the next level. Like, it shows. It's proof of it. So have a little faith, but don't be dumb. Notice how I haven't read one question. So let me actually read the questions about content creation, and then we will shift into another subject. All right, so I'm gonna group these questions together. Basically, tips for starting YouTube, advice for growing content creators, how do you stay motivated, what advice would you have for anybody that's just trying to become an influencer or start content creation in general. So I just briefly touched on pretty much my largest pieces of advice. This is gonna sound cliche, and I say this all the time, but it's truly because I mean it. You have to be yourself online. I think when people show up online as just a mirror image of somebody else, or just mimicking somebody else's thing, and I'm not talking about editing style or just making vlogs, like, I think that's fine. I think we all are gonna share something in common, because we're all in the same like hemisphere, stratosphere, whatever you want to call it. Like, if I make a vlog and she makes a vlog and she makes a vlog and he makes a vlog, they're all vlogs. But what's gonna set your vlog apart is just being you. Because genuinely, like, from the bottom of my heart, I mean this, there is truly only one you. God uniquely created and designed you to be you. So you'd be doing yourself a disservice anyways if you're not being you. And again, I will always say that there is space for everybody in the industry, because there truly is. Because if I'm me and you, and we're vastly different in a lot of ways, then of course there's room, because there's only one me, right? I think people, like I said, will do a disservice to themselves if they show up online as not them. And I think that you'll start to gain traction from being you alone. Outside of that, I think you need to start to build community. That is going to be the most important thing outside of being yourself, because being yourself will gain you community. It's like a positive feedback loop even. You need to be yourself and you need to gain community, but being yourself will gain you community, and gaining community helps you be yourself in a sense. But anyways, community. Try your best to talk to people, respond to people, and please don't get on my behind talk. Savannah, again, slow down. I do the best that I can do at the level that I'm at now. It used to be easier because the sheer influx is different now. The amount of people are different now. So I do the best that I can do, but talking back to people, whether that's DMs, comments, anything, going live helps, because like I said, you can talk to people in real time. You don't have to forget to respond to this or you didn't see a DM. Literally try to go live and build up some type of community. I think when favor is attached to what you're doing, it looks easy. And I think that people think that this is easy because I have favor attached to it. And like, I mean, God has kind of sort of made it easy for me, but I'm able to be friends with people, and I think that's a gift, and I think it's from God, and it just confirms what it is that I'm doing, and lets me know that I am following the path that He has already set for me. Because to make people feel like, and it's not just making me feel like you feel like this, but to make people feel like your friends through like an online connection is so special. So if you can achieve that, long term, it's looking good for you, girl. But small steps toward that. Try to go live, talk back to people, produce genuine content, and just do your best. Stay dedicated and be consistent, please. You cannot try something and then 3 weeks later be like, yeah, it doesn't work for me. You haven't even barely scratched the surface of it not working for you because you've barely been at it. Even 3 months. It takes people years to be successful in this industry. So another piece of advice I would recommend for you is just to stay at it. If you want it, you're going to do it. If you want it, you're going to do it. That's another harsh, maybe a little bit harsh piece of advice. If you want it bad enough, you're going to go after it and you're going to do it. Please. I understand that there are so many variables of life. Some of us have, well, I don't, but some of us have I got dogs. Children, work, school, whatever the variable is, you need to be able to balance all of it, and do it if you want to do it, especially if you want to flip it and turn it into something else that's going to relieve you of a certain position that you already don't like. I was working full time. I was in school full time and making content at one point. So, and then the school thing stopped. So I was just making content. But if you want it bad enough, you're going to have to go after it, and you're going to have to cut down the excuses and anything else that may be in your way, like an obstacle. Now, like I said, I feel for people, and I do understand that we all have life going on, but if you want it, you're going to have to go after it. Another thing about content creation is it's going to look different for everybody. Somebody asked how long it takes to see the results. I actually cannot answer that because I genuinely don't know. I can only tell you the course of what I did and how it manifested in my life and how God has moved for me. It's going to look different for everybody though. Like I said, it takes people years to do something that it could take somebody else months or even weeks to do. Who knows? But I think that dedication and consistency is going to always 100% of the time yield the results. It's just how long is it going to take? I don't know, but you have to put in the work. Anyway, something a bit more digestible in the realm of just tips and how to start small. You don't have to produce hour-long vlogs or 4K TikToks with all the special Lizzie McGuire editing. Baby, just start somewhere. Make you a little vlog, post it if that's what you want to do. And also, it's okay if you have to figure it out. You have to figure out your niche. Maybe make a makeup tutorial. Maybe make a hair tutorial. Just try different things. Try posting at different times. Try making different type of videos. If you want to start on YouTube, I would highly recommend starting short form first because it gives you a taste of what's to come and what's expected of you long form. Like I said, people really think that this is easy, pumping out this amount of videos and just being present even. But start small. Build a community short form and then leverage that community to your long form like platform. So for me, it was TikTok and Instagram, and then I made a YouTube and funneled people to that YouTube. And I think proof of genuine community is if they will come with you where you go. If I make a YouTube after starting TikTok and I have genuine community on there, that genuine community should funnel to YouTube. But yeah, start making little different videos. You don't have to have all this crazy equipment. You don't even have to have all this crazy editing. Put some clips together and grow as you go. You are doing yourself a disservice by not starting now. And people are like, oh, I should have started last year. I could have done this. Yeah, you could have. You absolutely could have. But today is that day. Go ahead and start now. Stop beating yourself up for what you didn't do and start it now. I'm not even kidding. You didn't want to turn this off and go record your video. Like you need to start. You need to start somewhere. And like I said, it doesn't have to be good. Just know and be open to growing as you go. So please start now. All right, so I got a ton of creations, crazy questions about my home buying process, how I'm settling in, yada yada yada. When I tell you I got so many screenshots here, it's actually becoming overwhelming. But I purchased a home I closed back in January. I found my home back in September. So from September to January was the closing process, but also waiting for construction to finish pretty much. I don't want to ever say that the process was hard because it really truly wasn't hard. Now, as a full-time creator, who literally just quit their job not even a year ago. And at that point, probably just like 4 months ago, I want to say, from June, July, August, yeah, like 4 months ago. My approval just looked different, but I also don't really want to say that that was difficult. Now, I talked to a couple lenders. A lot of them said two of them said I really just had no other option, and that I should actually wait until I get 2 years of tax returns as a creator, or file 2 years of taxes as a creator. Because now if you work a 9-to-5, you already know that you can apply for an FHA or just a conventional loan. Now, FHA was off the table for me personally because I had just quit my job, so I didn't have anything to show for the amount of money that I was making, like, as a full-time creator. The W-2s that I could use for my job were not usable because I did not still work in that field. Now, if I quit my job and worked a different job as a scientist, I would still be able to use my past W-2s or tax returns for the last 2 years to qualify for a home loan. But since my career field was totally different, that was just taken off the table. 1099 was also taken off the table. I'm talking to people, I guess, who know a little bit about just like home loans in general. But there's another thing that's called a 1099 loan where you show like 2 years of 1099 returns or filings. I didn't have 2 years of 1099 because I didn't file 1099 as a 9-to-5 worker. So I didn't have 1 year. This is my first year filing as a creator. So that was also taken off the table. A lot of the conventional loans were just X'd out because I literally didn't have anything to show for the amount of money that I was making to be able to even afford the home. So I had talked to like the best lender ever. And this was all God from start to finish, all God. I met with the best lender ever, and he was like, yeah, but there's this option. And I was like, nobody told me this. Nobody ever told me that this was an option. He's like, yeah, this is an option. But that option required me to funnel a lot of money into the home, which was okay for me because I feel like I am in a position to invest. And that's exactly what I want to do with my money. And I wanted to do it now. I don't want to wait 2 or 3 years. I don't know what 2 to 3 years is going to look like for me when I could have already had that equity in 2 to 3 years, building all that equity. But anyways, he had given me an option. So I ended up buying my home as an investment property. It was so strategically like planned by God, and I'm so happy. Now on the logistical side, I won't go ahead and explain everything in like numbers down to the T or like anything that crosses the boundary, if that makes sense. But like I said, God hooked me up with the best lender ever, and I was able to get into the home. My closing process was just a hair difficult because construction. Like I had difficulties with the builders. That's pretty much it. Had a great realtor, had a great lender. I will not be sharing any of those people because I don't want people in my business. That's another boundary that I have. So if anybody asks me, unfortunately, I will not be able to share those people with you. But outside of that, the closing process was pretty easy. That's what I'm saying. There's a real blessing from God to be able to do that and then afford everything else that I want to do in life at the same time. I'm tremendously blessed, and I will never, ever, ever, ever fail to give God the glory in that regard, and in every regard, really, because He is the author and the finisher of my life and has supplied every ounce of who I am, what I have, what it is that I do, what it is that I'm going to do, who I was, everything, start to finish, beginning and end of my life. I owe it all to God, so I am forever grateful for that. But I am adjusting well in the home. I love it. The only thing I'll say is it gets a little bit, not creepy, but just a little bit like, it feels empty. It feels empty. So I have 2 dogs and then there's me, but that's pretty much it. So it's like now if I hear a noise, I have to go investigate it because this is in an apartment and it isn't somebody else making the noise. So I got to go see what it is. But I'm keeping myself safe. I have everything in place to keep myself safe. I have any and everything that you could think of. I have it. So I'm doing well in the home. A lot of people are asking me for like a house tour. I will never ever in my life film or upload a house tour, even when I move out of here and rent it out for whoever else is going to live in here next. That is crossing a boundary for me, and I just need to keep that private because my safety is at risk here. A lot of people know what I went through last summer with the assault from my neighbor in an apartment, and I would never open up that part of my life to online unless I'm like custom building a home or something like that. I don't know. We'll see. But right now that is my boundary and I'm going to operate within the boundary. I will never film a house tour. But if I'm showing you little bits and pieces of a room, like if you know what my beauty room looks like, you know what my bedroom looks like, you know what my office looks like, you know what my living room looks like, you know what whatever else looks like, there is really no need to film a house tour, because the only thing that a house tour will do for anybody is just piece together the layout of the home, and nobody needs to know the layout of my home, like, ever at all. So that's my boundary, and I will never do that. Somebody asked me, what didn't you anticipate as a new homeowner? I'm not gonna lie, nothing has happened negatively at all. There's nothing I didn't anticipate that's happening now. Like, I've been paying monthly mortgage payments. Now I will say there's an aspect of education that you need to take on as a homeowner, because there's a lot of stuff that I didn't know that I did find out during the closing process, but nothing has like popped up. I haven't had a pipe burst or something like that after I closed. Like, I'm not spending unnecessary money in something that I didn't expect to happen. I would encourage and employ everybody to do their research on what it is that you need to bring to the table, how it is that you need to save based on your specific finances and your budgeting, whatever the case may be, what the things look like in your state, lender this, real estate, whatever, realtor this. Everything kind of needs to fall into one big pot, and you need to make the best decision for yourself. If you want to rent, rent. If you want to buy and you can buy, buy. And I'll always say that if you can buy, but that's if you want to. I hate when people be like, you're paying $5,000 in rent, that $5,000 could have went towards your mortgage. Yes, it could have, but what if they don't want to own a home? Leave people alone. Homeownership is not for everybody. Not everybody wants that responsibility, and sometimes that can even become a burden. So let people do what they want to do. Who cares? Literally, who cares? Why would it affect anybody else what somebody else is doing anyways? But like I said, please educate yourself. Please do your research on what it is that you need to become a homeowner and what it is that you should expect, because everything looks different in different states anyways. But I will say one thing I really didn't expect was the sheer amount of fees and cost it would like come up to actually even be able to move into the home and close on it. Like, for instance, escrow costs, closing costs, I mean, includes pretty much all of what it is I'm about to say, but just fees here and fees here, title company fees here and insurance here. I was like, more money? You need some more on top of the down payment. You need some more money. Can't need no more money. Can't need no more money from me. But yeah, like, in the end, I ended up putting about 20% down, and then there was closing costs on top of that down. So it came out to an amount that I didn't initially expect, but so worth it. I am thriving in the home. I have so much equity in it already. Right now, I'm in the mindset of like, I'll never sell, because I really don't think you ever should, especially if you want to go on that rental property venture. And for me, I want to invest in real estate, and I'm starting it now. So like, in my mind, I'm not thinking about selling right now. I'm thinking about renting, because I think I'll probably only live here for about 2.5 years max, and then go ahead and build a home or buy something else that I really like, and then start to invest that money also. There is like it's interesting with real estate, because you can really just buy one property and have it funnel and fund the rest of whatever it is you want to do in the real estate world. So that's why I think it's personally so cool, and that is like the trajectory that I'm on right now. Like, I'm not interested in selling my home in any time soon, and it's nice to have something that belongs to me. And then you get the haters that'll come and be like, you actually don't own it because you pay a mortgage. Like, please just let people have their success. It's okay. It's okay. It got my name on it. The deed is in my name. Now, yes, I owe money to the bank, but that's okay. That's literally fine. I had somebody get in my comments like, you're just a glorified renter. I said, baby, I'm 25. I put 20% down, and it's mine. Okay? Period. Let's go. But overall, so far, I am loving it. I am loving doing what I want to different rooms and not having to worry about like turning the apartment back over to a landlord or anything like that. Like, I'm very much enjoying it. Okay, next, let's talk about relationship, whether that be God, boyfriend, friendship. So, about 85% of you are slid up and tell us about that man. Tell us about that man. Who you dating? 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 And I'm joking right now. I'm joking, but I always put my relationship as a boundary. Now, I wasn't in one before, and I'll speak a little bit to it. But as far as who I'm dating, relationship content, just getting in the nitty gritty, that will never happen for me. I do not want to be in a public relationship. People are just going to have to respect that. If you don't, I truly just don't know what to tell you. The prying that has already occurred has just rubbed me the wrong way in general, and it's just a taste of what would come if I were to divulge more information. So my relationship will remain private. It's between me, him, and God, okay? And I am very blessed now to be in that godly centered, focused, equally yoked relationship, I am extremely happy. Don't get me wrong. I have to set the boundary, but I am so happy, and God has shown himself through this man, and I am so overjoyed with it. If you watch some of my chit chat videos before, I was not dating at all, and I didn't even understand how people came to date, how people came to fall in love, how people came to get married and even live with a guy. Like, I just never understood that, because I don't know, God never revealed himself in that manner in my life, right? And now he has, and I'm like, okay, now I kind of understand this, now I understand that. And I'm overjoyed. I'm very, very, very happy. Very intentional guy. Like I said, we are basing our relationship on the foundation of God. God is at the center of what we are doing, and we are aiming for marriage, and that's always kind of how I've been. That's always been like a goal and an ambition of mine, to get married and have children. Now, that doesn't have to be your goal or your ambition. That's something that I want to do with my life, and God knows the desires of my heart. So I knew that he would show up in this manner, right? In previous videos, I was like, you know, I don't understand, like, how are y'all like anybody? There's nobody to like, which there wasn't anybody to like. But I always knew that God will fulfill the desires of my heart, and I am seeing that in real time. And I'm very, very, very happy and very, very, very blessed, okay? But anything, you know, beyond that, I'm not really willing to speak on, because it's nobody's business but ours and God. So there's that. I would much, much, much rather the relationship remain private, because like I said, people are prying beyond belief. Like, I wear, he gave me an initial necklace. People are going through my followers. It's insane. Like, it's insane. Now, he is a creator, and our relationship isn't like hidden. It isn't private. It dang sure isn't a secret, but I have always wanted that privacy and that boundary when it comes to relationships and being online. So much of my life is already shared online. Things about my home and my relationship will always, always, always remain private, because I have the right to that privacy. Not everything needs to be divulged online and just spewed out of my mouth. Not everybody needs to know everything that I'm doing. Another thing, I will never post relationship content ever, because I don't want to see that man. Leave him at home in a cage, okay? I'm not talking about mine. I want to see mine, but I don't want to see yours. I don't care about him. I'm here for you, your hair tutorials, your vlogs, your whatever it is. So fret not. This will never, ever turn into a relationship content type of thing. Like, baby, y'all, I can't. I literally can't. I never want my brand to be about a man. I've worked so hard to build what it is that I have in this world, and I'll be darned if I let a man come in and kind of just shift the trajectory of what it is that I'm doing. Now, we both individually have goals and aspirations for our lives, and I love that for us, because we can come together as one, but also be individuals. And I that's what I crave personally. So fret not. Like I said, this will never be, this is blah, 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 and he's my, we might get ready with me. No, I'm sorry. It's just me and the get ready with me. The girls are here for the girls. The girls aren't here for me. The girls are not here for that man. Like I said, leave him at home in a cage, because truly, who cares? And that's what I've just been wondering a little bit, why people are so invested. Now, there's a such thing as curiosity. Don't get me wrong. But that curiosity cannot be masked, because people are being hateful. People are prying. People are crossing boundaries. And that's not general curiosity. Like, curiosity done killed the cat. So, like, be for real. Again, it's just, that got a little bit overwhelming for me. So the last thing you see in this era, that's like the girlfriend era, which I'm getting married. But the last thing you see will be that little girlfriend proposal that I posted at the end of that vlog. The next thing you'll see is when we get engaged, and then the next thing after that, when we get married, and then the content will still be mine, because this is me. Like, this is A Wookie. This is an A Wookie and XYZ. Like, we're not doing that. Like, come on. Nobody should even really care, if I'm honest with you. Now, like I said, I understand the curiosity, but the only person that should really truly care is me, because it's, you know, my private life. But outside of that, I be wondering why people be so invested. Like, this girl literally went, let me just get you some tea real quick. I was on live in Houston, and we were playing tennis, but it was just showing me, like, on the court. I said this man's name, and she went and dug through my followers. If you're watching, you know who you are. She went and dug through my followers and started adding his live and just name dropping all in the live comments. It was so nasty, so weird, rubbed me such the wrong way. And I was like, exactly. That's why I can't do nothing. Like, I can't share nothing. I can't show nothing, because people will take it and run with it for malicious reasons. It's just a little weird. And that, if I'm honest with you, that overwhelmed me so bad. And it was like so fresh. Like, he had just asked me, and I was like, you know what, I shouldn't even have done that, but I don't even want to beat myself up about what I shouldn't have done. People should just respect your boundaries and not be crazy and weird all the time. So yeah, I got a little taste of that, and I was like, heck no, like I'm definitely not being in anything public. So yeah, that's kind of where I am. But like I said, I'm very blessed and very happy. So there's that. Okay, next let's talk about friendships, because this is another hot little topic, especially after last summer for me, because I set out to intentionally make so many friends last summer, and I built a nice circle of girls, and it is so nice. Like, it's so nice to have people surrounding you that uplift you and support you. But people are always asking me how to make friends, or how to stop being friends with somebody, or whatever the case may be. But I think you just need to put yourself out there. Like, people say, you know, it's hard to make friends in your 20s, which I agree with and disagree with. I agree with it because it actually is challenging. You're not in those spaces like school or like class where you just have people around you that you could just prompt a conversation. You actually have to go somewhere to see other people in adulthood, like whether that be dinner or social clubs, run groups, or whatever the case may be. You have to actually socially put yourself out there to meet people. And once you do that, I think it can start to be beneficial. Social media is another tool and another resource, but you really do have to be careful. Whether you're meeting people in like organic settings or social media, you do have to be careful with who you're fooling with, because some people are not normal, some people are not sane, and some people just don't mesh well with you and your spirit, and that is okay. So that brings me to my next, I guess, little topic or question, like, how do you stop being friends with somebody? It's okay to not be friends with somebody. I promise, it really is okay. After you get to know a person, if that person isn't your type of person, or you guys just don't mesh well on that level, then you don't have to be friends with anybody that you don't want to be friends with, right? Especially if God is revealing that you really shouldn't be friends with X, Y, and Z, or however, or you shouldn't be operating in this way, or just surrounding yourself with such people. So it's okay. It's okay to have a boundary, keep it, and say, hey, you know what? I don't think we're compatible in this way. If a person has revealed themselves in other ways, and it's also okay to just lose friends. Like, I think you need to be mature about it, granted, but I do think it's okay to not be friends with everybody you initially set out to be friends with. I myself am already in that position. Like, everybody that I set out to be friends with, I'm not friends with to this day, or I would have so many people around me all the time. I think you need to get to know people and really assess if they're compatible with you and your life, and move from there. Everybody that I'm not friends with anymore, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that, and I'm okay with them as people, because we just didn't mesh well, and that's okay. And I think maturing is realizing that you don't need to be friends with everybody that you meet. But also maturing is realizing that you do need to be a good friend. And I pride myself on that. I do believe I am a good friend, and not everybody is worthy of that. And if somebody shows you that they're not worthy of that, has happened to me multiple times. If somebody shows you that they're not worthy of having you as a good friend, you need to take a step back and no longer be that for that person, and save your energy for something or someone else. Like, that is okay too. But I do think it's important to be a good friend. Like, being a good friend will take you a long way, and then and only then will you start to build really like true and genuine relationships. But if somebody's not being a good friend to you back, baby, get up out of there. Get up out of there. Because what are we even here for? Like, get out of here. Okay, so now people are asking about intimacy and faith with God. Now, I mean, if you know me, you already know this, but God is the head and center of my life. I pride everything I do on following His will and word, and just being obedient in my life, because that's the most important thing for me right now. Because the reward and the blessing isn't really truly yielded until you are walking in obedience. Like, your desires won't be fully fulfilled until you are walking in that obedience. And you getting in it requires prayer, requires faith, requires reading of the word, and requires general walking and obedience in your life, in my opinion. Like, there were parts of my life that I thought was missing, and until I started to be obedient, that's when I got them. Like, that's literally when I started to receive the fullness of the blessing. Because for me, the fullness of the blessing directly correlates and aligns with the desires of my heart, right? So if I'm being, if I'm being obedient, then God is going to start to give me those desires directly from His heart. And then my will and His will start to align, because I'm walking in the will that He has for me by being obedient. I think the tether to His will and my desires is obedience. Obedience is like a bridge. Obedience gets you so much. So people are like, well, how do I know what God is telling me to do? How do I know how to be obedient? You need to go up in prayer and you need to be in your word. Like I think those are the two key pieces of success when it comes to walking with God. And keeping an open heart and an open ear, because your heart is your spiritual ear, but an open heart and an open ear to listen and to be willing to walk with God and to be willing. First of all, you got to be willing to even be obedient. But again, I'm not a spiritual leader. I'm not a pastor. I sometimes don't like when people put that pressure on me, because that's not ever what I signed up to do. Now, I do want God to use me in any way that he sees fit. And if I don't even have that vision for myself, but he does, then okay, I need to walk in it, right? But I don't like being that for people, because that's when all the pressure and stress and people start to unload on you and start to, well, you're not doing this and you're not doing that, but you claim this and you claim that. So I like to keep my relationship with God, and hey man, I'm not God, so I can't tell you what to do, but I just think that when people start to pry and push in that direction of just judgment, animosity, resentment, it starts to get a little bit sticky. But I mean, I'm seeing God's will and his faith really like manifest and unfold in my life. So I can only tell you about me. Like I said, I'm not a pastor, so I would employ any and everybody to get a spiritual guider, a pastor, a firm foundation when it comes to spiritual like leadership, and stop looking to influencers for it. And I'm not trying to condemn anybody right now, and I'm not saying that these questions are that, because they're really not. But if I were you, would stop looking to influencers to answer all those faith related and based questions, because they really can't be that for you. You need somebody in real life to spiritually guide you and lead you to the Father, not a rookie, not whoever else. Now, you can look to those people for inspiration, but those people aren't the end all be all. You need somebody that's firm in your life that's going to help you do that, instead of it being somebody online. Now, that's just personally what I think. Okay, so earlier when I was talking a little bit about finances, I think what I really wanted to touch on is just literacy in general as it relates to social media in general. I know we have all seen that video of like Brand Flakes say, how much money he made. It kind of just sparked a conversation that, I have boundaries around, but I also kind of sort of think it's actually important, especially as a Black woman with other Black women looking up to me, especially in that regard. And I think people are just kind of closed off and maybe even shut off to, like I said earlier, the sheer amount of money that you can actually be making from this stuff and how it can actually change your life. But there's a portion of it that I'm like a little bit like frustrated, I think, on. And that is when people are assuming that counterparts, Black people, Black women aren't making as much money as like white men or white women or whatever. Now, do not get me wrong, there is a serious gap, but I think that gap kind of sort of needs to be talked about. And I think that was Brandon's goal, and I admire him for that. And I'm like, I'll take my hat off for that, to you for that. There's a serious gap that exists, especially on the brand side, brand partner side. Brands be knowing what they're doing. They know that they severely underpay Black and brown creators and just minority creators in general, but especially Black people, like, be for real. And I think that it's up to them to begin to close that gap, but up to us to begin to talk about it for them to even be willed to close that gap. Now, somebody tagged me in somebody else's video. They had made Stitch like Brandon's video, and they were like, let's be real though, Black creators don't make this amount of money. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. We do. I am the manifestation of that in real life. Yes, we do. So somebody tagged me in his video and was like, yeah, I can't wait until A. Wilkie makes this amount of money. And I was like, whoa, both of you to assume that I haven't made that amount of money and I'm living in it right now. So I'm like, man, there is a real disparity on the brand side, but also on the consumer side. Because it's like people are actually assuming that some of us don't make that amount of money just because, I don't know, we're Black women. I'm not sure. Now, I know plenty of Black women personally online that have made more than Brandon has made in a given year. And that's what I'm saying. People don't understand the sheer money that you can really be making and bringing in a year. Like, it's insane. So I think there needs to be a little bit more literacy around the topic. Now, am I going to sit here and tell you how much money I made last month? No, probably not. Because also I think there's a thin line of when you're talking about money in general, like boasting, like I never want to be on that side of money talk. I never want to ever throw what I have in anybody else's face. I always want to remain humble and recognize that the blessing comes from God. But I think there is a little bit of need for a little bit more talk around how much money people are making, whether it's a motivator, whether it's a gap or bridge or anything like that. So I don't know, I guess I just wanted to touch on that a little bit more. I think I'm a little bit uncomfortable, if I'm being completely honest with you, talking so much about money, because like I said, I don't want to cross that line. But I guess any other questions that you have within my boundary, I wouldn't really mind answering. Like, people sometimes ask how much money you can make from a brand deal. It really just depends on what your base rate is, if the brand wants to use your content, if they want you to post it on multiple platforms. There's a such thing as a syndication rate. So if I make one video for TikTok and you want me to post it on Instagram, you're gonna have to pay the syndication rate. So we can talk a little, let's just talk about brand deals in general right now. And then I guess we can touch on a little bit more stuff. All right, so in the world of brand deals, it works differently than I guess people would expect, but it maybe works how you would expect. So a couple months ago, watched a video of a girl. She was saying like, it's not a coincidence that the most successful creators were once career women, or like have like an education or degrees or whatever. And I was like, that's actually a really good point, because what it is that I'm doing now kind of mirrors what it is that I did, just differently. So as it relates to like school and stuff, and just project management in general, and being on top of whatever it is that you need to do, deadlines, stressful environments, speaking, calls, and just etiquette in general. So I think school and my career actually helped me for that. But anyways, a brand will come to you with, or you go to them. In my experience, brands come to me. Now my agency does pitch me, and we can talk about agency and all that stuff in a minute too. My agency does pitch me, but brands will come to me and they'll be like, hey, we would love to work with you on this specific campaign. Sometimes they'll ask me for my rate, or ask my team for my rate. Other times they'll say, hey, this is our budget, which never really is their budget. And this is the part I was talking about, the gap and the disparity, because you allocated so much more for a white woman than you did for a Wilkie, who is a black woman. But the cool thing about my agency is they're always about getting more dollars, you know, for our black bodies. But anyways, they'll come and say, hey, this is how much we have, or what are your rates for this? There'll be a lot of negotiation back and forth. Now the negotiation could take a day, it could take 2 weeks, it could take longer than 2 weeks, because you always want to get paid what you're worth. And I'll never stamp my name on anything that I don't feel personally aligned with. And I'll never do some things for a certain amount of money, because all money is not good money. And I think once you realize that is when you can really start to weed out what it is that you're supposed to be doing. Now, I've turned down 5-figure brand deals for stuff that I just don't want to do. Like, you're not gonna make me do something I don't want to do. I'm not putting my name on something that's not aligned with my personal values, whether that be my faith, my organic content style, or whatever the case may be. Like, all money is not good money. But when it personally aligns with me and we can agree on something that is fair to me and what it is that I bring to the table, and that's another thing, like, you really do have to recognize who you are and what you bring to the table. Because if you're offering me X, Y, and Z, and I know I can bring you in triple, quadruple, whatever, 5 times the amount of what you're trying to give me, then you can get up out my face, because I know what I'm worth as a creator, and I know what I can bring to the table, and I know what I can turn into dollars for you as a company. If you can't pay me exactly what it is that I'm worth, out of there. Out of there. I don't even care. Out of there. But anyways, you'll agree on a rate, and then all that stuff will start to turn into like briefing, concepts, and rollout. So after that, I have a talent manager, and I also have a campaign manager. So my talent manager is handling all of the negotiations and all of the influx that I'm getting. And then my campaign manager, once we agree on a rate, it goes to her table, and she basically executes the campaign with me and the brand. So on the production side, I am doing 100% of everything. I edit all my YouTube videos. I edit all my short form videos. When it comes to a brand deal, it's up to me to film, have a concept in my head, and make it come to life and submit it. So she is just more so on top of like the scheduling, the logistics, like, hey, you need to do this, they want this, but you got to make it come to life, like you as the creator. So when it gets to that point, I myself will look at a brief that a brand provides, and then I'll come up with a concept that fits me organically, like as a creator. So For instance, I literally just left my beauty room filming a campaign. They all look different. Sometimes the ask is different. Sometimes they'll ask you for just one TikTok, or a TikTok and an Instagram, or a TikTok and an Instagram and an Instagram story, or whatever the case may be. So based on what they want is kind of how you move. And then after that, the concept will need approval. So it's just a bunch of back and forth for a really long time, sometimes months, sometimes weeks. It just depends on how fast track the campaign is. But anyways, bunch of back and forth with concepts and briefing, and then once they approve your concept, you're good to film. So I'll start filming exactly what it is that they want. Now, I was saying in last week's video, if you start doing a bunch of dibbling and dabbling and telling me what to do here and telling me what to do there and saying you need to say this or you can't say this or you need to be this way, at that point you can have it back, because I'm always going to be authentically true to who it is that I am. So I'm not putting out anything with my name on it that I don't agree with, or that you're trying to just get me to do for the sake of me doing it because of who I am. But anyways, I'll film and I'll submit like an edit or a draft to the brand. Sometimes you get a lot of feedback, sometimes you get a little bit of feedback. I like a little bit of feedback because it's like you trust me to be able to cook and to organically do what it is that I have favored to do. So yeah, after that, you'll like choose a go live date, which is like talked about with your manager and the brand, and then eventually you'll go live. Payment looks different than 9 to 5, right? So there's a such thing as net 30. 30 days after your thing goes live, you get paid. Sometimes it's even net 60. I don't sign net 90s. I don't play like that personally. If it is a net 90, then it needs to be a hell of a lot of money, okay? But yeah, so finances look very different nowadays because you need to be able to manage money and to really handle it in a way, because you're not getting paid every other week. Now, this goes back to what I was saying about the sheer amount of money, because if somebody gives me a $100,000 for a brand deal, I'm not spending $100,000. Like, I can make it stretch until I get paid again. And I'll say, when I first started like brand deals and like becoming savvy at this, you know how like people are like in the hole, like when you get paid from a corporate career, you're in the content creator hole because you don't get paid for months, really. So once those months pass and you keep signing brand deals, then you begin to build this padding. So money kind of truly never really runs out, but it is very important to be able to manage money. Now I have a financial advisor, I have tax representatives and all that good stuff to make sure that I'm on top of what it is that I need to be doing in the financial aspect. Like, buying a home was a great investment for me, but not if I don't know how to flip it and turn it into it actually being a benefit, right? So I do have a financial advisor, and she is another Black woman, and she is absolutely incredible, y'all, like incredible. So nowadays I'm very much into managing money because I have more money than I've ever touched in my entire life. So it's absolutely necessary to be able to manage it in the proper way. I am now investing in stocks and all that good stuff. Like I said, I have a home for investment. Like, my financial portfolio is growing so much, and I'm so blessed and so proud of it because I'm being a good steward over the blessing that God has given me. Like, He has blessed me financially, so I need to be able to take care of my finances to be blessed more in turn from God. So I'm very happy with it. And there's other aspects of my life that just didn't exist. Like, I never knew I would even need a financial advisor last year even. So I'm putting all these puzzle pieces into place to benefit me long term. And then people are like, oh, well, what do you want to do long term? Like I said earlier, if you are able to receive a blessing from God, take that blessing, flip it and turn it and multiply it into a larger blessing, you don't really unlock the key to life. People are like, oh, content creation won't be around forever. People shouldn't rely on this amount of this money from here and this and there, and TikTok can be deleted. And I don't think people understand that content creation in the internet, social media, is not going anywhere. It may look different, but this stuff is not going anywhere. This is the technological age. We are living in the technological age. So I hate when people say that, because it's like, you don't actually even understand what's going on here for you to be able to make those opinions, because this stuff not going nowhere. Now, do you need to be a good steward over the money that you're getting because it could be going tomorrow? Absolutely. You could spend $60,000 in a day. If you made $60,000 from social media, whatever, it could be gone tomorrow, sure, because you could spend it all. But if you know how to manage money, put it in the right place, flip it and turn it and make this into something else, it doesn't really matter if social media goes away tomorrow, because you would have had multiple streams of income. You would have invested that money properly to be able to get you some return on your investment, and do what you need to do in life. Now, I don't plan on being on social media forever, right? I'm 25. I don't plan on picking my vlogging camera up at 80 talk about, hey y'all. That's not gonna work for me personally. So I'm gonna take the blessing that God has given me right now, put it into something else, so then I can shift out of this career into the next. If you're taking the blessing and using it properly, it doesn't really matter if social media gets deleted or not, like, and it's really not going anywhere. Like I said, it's just gonna transform into something different. But I think ultimately what you need to be doing if you find yourself becoming successful at social media is figuring out how you can pivot out of something, because nothing is forever, right? And that's the mentality I feel like everybody needs to have. How can you get something and flip it and turn it into something else that'll benefit you long term? How can you get some longevity out of something? So for me, it looks different from anybody else. Like I said, creating a business is a great idea as far as like getting longevity out of something. I'm trying to build some wealth. I'm trying to be wealthy. Do you hear me? So I'm using my money now to do those things that'll benefit me later in life, especially when I start to have children and want to pass things down to them. So it's very important to be smart over money, because it can go a really long way. Okay, so I think that was pretty much every like large topic I wanted to touch on. If I'm honest with you, I'm just about to start reading some of these questions off. So they might kind of be everywhere. I apologize for that. I try to keep us on track with those large topics of conversation, but I'm just about to start randomly firing some questions off. Somebody asked, would I ever do a meet and greet? Yes, I'm trying to work on that right now. Like, y'all have been hearing a little bit about this from me. One time I made a vlog and I said, mark my words, I will be hosting a coach event. And mark my words, I will be hosting a coach event. We're in conversation right now and I'm so excited. I'm praying about it. I want that to come to life so badly. But if that doesn't come to life, this year one of my goals is to host a formal meet and greet with my people, like an event. I want to do that so bad. Now, the only time I really be meeting y'all is if we go to like panels or events or stuff like that. But I want my own event where I can meet people and just fellowship in person, because that's important to me. So that will be happening this year. Somebody said, what are some bucket list destinations, or even skydiving, snorkeling, dolphin, swimming, etc.? One of my bucket list places is Italy, and I'm going there at the end of May for my birthday, so I'm very excited for that. Somebody else asked about travel. I said I wanted to travel more this year, and it is happening so far, so I'm very glad. From May on through October, I have a trip every month, and I'm very excited. And they're all international trips. I've secured some international brand deals for a little bit later this summer and a little bit later this year. So I love that. Like I said, I wanted to travel so bad, so I'm very like happy to be traveling now. But some bucket list destinations, definitely Italy. I've always wanted to go to Italy. I'd love to see, I'd love to see Bali, but I do have a brand trip planned for Bali. Where else would I love to see? I've just always wanted to go to Italy. I want to get married in Italy. I want to have an Italian wedding in like Florence or something like that. Like, I love that. I can't wait. Somebody asked, on average, how many campaigns do you do in a week? So it doesn't really work by the week. It works like how many campaigns are you juggling at a time. Now, the rollouts are different. So it's not like I have to film 11 in a week. It could be that one of them is due this week, the next one is due the next week, and then 4 or 5 are due the week after that. So you're kind of just balancing it and filming when you can based on the timeline. So like right now, I just got out of like a super busy phase, and I'm about to start traveling. So I kind of wanted to dial it down a bit, but I had about probably 15 campaigns, just juggling them all at the same time because the season was just so busy and the opportunities were plentiful, and I'm so glad for that. But I like I said, I want to dial it back just a little bit for May and June, because I've worked really hard in April. So yeah, I kind of just want to dial it back a bit, because juggling that much stuff at one time can become very overwhelming. But it looks different. But the average amount of campaigns I'd say I'm doing right now is probably somewhere around 10 to 12. Somebody asked, what makes you keep going with daily content? Do you ever feel the need to step away? Now, the little break I had back in December was I did feel the need to step away, because truly I was burnt out, because I don't think people understand how much content people are making when it is like a full-time thing and you are vlogging. Like for me, for instance, I vlog. I don't make really sort of like makeup content where I can just sit down in the house and do it. That's not even easy, don't get me wrong. But I always have a camera because I am a lifestyle vlogger. So it's not just about one specific niche. I'm always doing something with the camera. So at a certain point I was feeling burnt out, and I did feel the need to step away from my own mental health, and I'm glad that I did. And then some weeks are even like that. Now I am dedicated to YouTube, and I try to cut myself a little bit of slack, but at the same time, I'll be like, you know what, God has blessed me tremendously, so the least I can do is keep pumping out content. Like, the least I can do is stay motivated, stay dedicated. Now, I am considering my mental health, and if I need a break, I need a break. But I'm like, man, I've been blessed so much, you might as well, like, people aren't even remotely in the same position, so it's like, knowing that I've been blessed, the least I can do is upload on time. The least I can do is give y'all a vlog every week. The least I can do is pump out some TikToks. But you do have to balance that with your mental health and your sanity. So I try to walk a thin line there. Ooh, somebody asked, what are some things you're looking forward to in the season that you're in? Oh my gosh, that's such a good question. I'm looking forward to growing my relationships, whether that be friendships, marriage. Like, I want to be married. With my dogs, with God. Like, I'm just looking forward to growing relationships. I've always been a relationship oriented person, not like romantically at all, but just especially lately, like, just focusing on relationships in life, because relationships bless you so much, like literally so much. God blesses us through relationships, so it's up to us to take care of them. So I'm excited for that. I'm looking forward to traveling, growing Juno and Java. Somebody asked me if I got rid of Java. In no world would I ever get rid of one of my dogs. Java is just fine, y'all. I'm just looking forward to, I don't know, receiving the fullness of the blessing and finding out what that really looks like in my life long term. Somebody asked, who's your favorite influencer? I have so many favorite influencers, y'all. Like, the girls are just girling. Like, it really would take me going in my, like, TikTok to really see. We all love Kyra Monique. I love Madison Denise. I love Kyra Nicole. Oh my gosh. There's so many people I would even leave out. So I feel like I shouldn't even sit here and say, unless I like go through my following or something like that to tell you who I like. But there are so many amazing creators, especially Black women. Like, I love us so bad. All right, somebody else asked, what's been your favorite part of content creation, your content creation journey so far? Hands down, building community. Like, y'all mean so much to me, and I say this all the time, but truly mean it. Community is everything. The best part about what it is that I do is you all, like, truly, because it's like, it's literally a relationship. Like, I give and I get in return, but like, I hope that I am inspiring people. Well, I know that I am, but it feels so good to be an inspiration to people. So that's what I get, like, in return. Like, I get so much joy from doing this, and that's why I know God's favor and just glory is resting upon my life, and this is what I'm supposed to be doing, because I'm literally changing other people's lives. Like, I am inspiring people. Like, that is so big, and it's almost like a responsibility, and I want to steward it properly. So I am so overjoyed and so grateful for a genuine community. It really just fuels what it is that I do. Like, I'm so happy. But anyways, y'all, I feel like I done yapped my whole entire frontal lobe off. So I think that's where we're gonna end this time for this little chit chat. If you want me to do another one, of course I'll do another one. I love vlogging. I feel like that is like my little passion on here, but it's nice to just sit down and catch up and just talk. I for real think that those are all the updates. Like, we talked about home, we talked about relationship. The dogs are doing great. Juno, like I said, just turned 3. Java is still 1. Java's doing better though. Like, if you know him from the beginning, he's very active, but Java is doing much better. And I love little Java and I love little Juno, and I'm so happy to have them. I guess it's all like the real life updates. My birthday is soon, and then I'm gonna see my mom, and we're gonna have a little fun. I'm gonna be traveling a lot, so there's a lot of life to come, and of course a lot of content to come. But I hope you enjoyed, and like I said, if you have any other questions, I don't mind answering them. But I'm about to wrap this up right now. I'm actually leaving to go on a trip tomorrow, so I need to go pack and do some other things as far as work goes. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you were able to pull something from this, and I wasn't just talking for no reason, whether it be small or big. But with all that being said, I love y'all so much, and thank you again for 60K. And until next time, I'll see you. Love you. Bye.